Okay, just a quick video of how to assemble the SleepyLoRa blind system. So I'm going to start with the master. Now, one of the first things we need to do is solder on a wire to the MOSFET on the back here. Normally this is used for turning on the power to measure the battery voltage, but I'm using this to switch the power to the step up boost module here. It's a little bit hackish, but it works really well, and it saves having to have a separate MOSFET on this board here because there's no other way to access the battery if you connect via the plug at the back here. So I'm just going to go ahead and start that now. Okay, so we'll start by putting some fresh solder on. Just like that. I'm going to use the resistor lead from here. I won't use a bit with the tape on. And we'll take about that much. In the end of this. And very carefully solder that straight onto there. Just like that. Right, next step will be to start putting components in. So 10K resistor. Some pliers to not bend too close to the body. Fold that over. Let's LoRa board first. I want to put the short side of the pins through the module so I don't have to trim them off later. Now, this goes on the side without the SleepyLoRa label. Put it in just like that. And if you solder the back side first, I find it much easier. Pressure to make sure they're fully home. It's probably the hardest part. Just taking this and bending it. I'll get it down and into this hole. Putting too much stress on that pin. Nice round loop. Soldering without putting too much heat into it. And for the next components, in here, a bit of a tight fit against the board, but it fits. That's the RS485 module. So these are 104, which is 100 nanofarads, 0.1 UF. Let's drop in 4 pins for the snippet module, long side down. And step module needs a bit of work before we put it on. So we need to set it for 5 volts. So that's 2 open connections. It's these 2 resistors here. They're 0 ohms by default. So I'll just put a blob of solder on and wipe them off. And then we'll just confirm that they are actually open. The other thing that I like to do on these is remove the LED from this end. Otherwise, every time it powers up, you get a blue light. Again, 104 cap, which is 0.1 UF. Module here. So once again, removing the LED from this. There's a trace that can be cut on the back here, but I find it's easier to remove the resistor off the front. And at the output 1, 2, 3, 4, go to the outside of the board. the connectors in, so you can sort of see on the silk screen which way they go. So I've got the one for the motor pointing downwards, and these ones here pointing upwards. Not too much heat into these, they push the pins through. Last thing to go in is the linear potentiometer. So I just flatten out these pins, makes it a bit easier to install them. Squeeze these two in, they spring out a bit. So that. And that is it, complete. Hey, assembly video for the SleepyLoRa Slave Electronics. Pretty simple board this one, just the ESP32C3, a RS485 module, and the motor driver module. So I've put a couple of extra capacitors on this board just because it's going to be running at the end of a cable from the master, so just a bit of power filtering just in case it doesn't actually need it. It works without, but I've decided to add it in. So first thing I'll do is install the resistor for the potentiometer, 10k ohm resistor, spin the lead. Also found I needed to put some pull-up resistors on the module here for the motor driver, because when the C3 initiates, it doesn't initialize low quick enough, and the motor starts moving. Just drop these in here, 10k ohms again. These I've designed the board so that if someone wants to use it with a stepper motor, all four outputs are given, but when we're using the N20 motor, we only need two of them. You need to drop the first two resistors in here. Three sitting nice and flat. Put them in. The USB module in next. Simple USB port towards the end. Long side of the pins through the board again. put the RS485 module on. It's going to remove the LED from this one as well. Let's all do the module here. Let's go and remove this resistor. Remove the LED. Goes towards the top. Glass caps. So one down here, that's for the position sensor, and one here, it's just an extra one I put on for the ESP. If you get a 16 volt 100 UF, it gives you a bit more space. Just got to be mindful of which way the negative terminal is on this, so that will go towards the cutout at the top. Just reconfirming negative towards the edge of the board. We don't need any of these 3 resistors here in. One so the cutouts are down. Once again, not too much heat on these. The plastic are pretty soft. Linear potentiometer again, single pin at one end, 2 pins at the other. And that is the slave module finished. What I should have mentioned before, if you're just using the master by itself without wanting to connect a slave to it, you don't have to install the RS485 module or these 2 JST XH connectors. They're only if you're connecting to a slave. And that is the electronics build complete for master and a slave.